He's remembered as the father of a nation, a symbol of freedom carved in stone. But behind the portraits and patriotic myths lies a quieter truth, one rarely spoken aloud. How could the man who led a revolution for liberty also own human beings? And what does that contradiction reveal about America itself? In the mid-1700s, America was not yet a nation. It was a collection of British colonies shaped by ambition, hierarchy, and contradiction. Into this world, George Washington was born in 1732 in Virginia, a land defined by tobacco fields and enslaved labor. From the beginning, his life was tied to a system that treated freedom as selective, not universal. Washington rose through society as a landowner, surveyor, and military officer. He learned leadership early, commanding men during the French and Indian War. These experiences hardened him, teaching discipline, strategy, and the cost of power. To many colonists, he appeared calm, principled, and dependable, a man suited to lead in uncertain times. Yet beneath his emerging reputation was an uncomfortable reality. Washington inherited enslaved people and later expanded his holdings through marriage and wealth. His estate, Mount Vernon, functioned because of forced labor. While he spoke of honor and duty, dozens of lives were bound to his decisions, their futures controlled by his authority. As tensions with Britain escalated in the 1770s, Washington became a central figure in resistance. Colonists demanded representation, dignity, and freedom from tyranny. When war broke out, Washington was chosen to lead the Continental Army, not just for his skill, but for the image he projected: unity, sacrifice, and restraint. To the public, he became the face of the American cause. But even as he fought for independence, the moral contradiction remained unresolved. Liberty was being defended with one hand, while denied with the other. As war consumed the colonies, Washington's leadership would be tested like never before, and the meaning of freedom itself would grow far more complicated in the fire of revolution.
As cannons thundered and soldiers froze in silence, a new nation fought for its survival. The word freedom echoed across battlefields, powerful and inspiring. Yet far from the front lines, another reality endured, invisible, unchallenged. How could a revolution for liberty advance while bondage remained untouched at its very center? By 1775, the American colonies stood on the edge of collapse or independence. George Washington, appointed commander of the Continental Army, faced impossible odds. His troops were poorly supplied, undertrained, and divided by regional loyalty. Survival depended not on victory alone, but on endurance. Washington led by example. He rejected monarchy, refused excessive power, and endured brutal winters alongside his men. At Valley Forge, disease and hunger threatened to destroy the army from within. Yet Washington held it together through discipline, patience, and quiet resolve. To many, he became the embodiment of revolutionary virtue. But the ideals driving the war raised uncomfortable questions. If liberty was a natural right, who truly possessed it? Enslaved Africans watched from the margins as colonists demanded freedom from British rule. Some enslaved people sought liberty by escaping to British lines, where promises, though often broken, offered hope. Others petitioned for service in exchange for freedom. Washington's position evolved slowly and cautiously. At first, he opposed the enlistment of black soldiers. Over time, necessity forced change. Enslaved and free black men joined the army, fought and died for a cause that did not guarantee their emancipation. The contradiction deepened. Throughout the war, Washington continued to manage Mount Vernon from afar. Enslaved labor sustained his household, even as he condemned tyranny in public. The revolution challenged kings and empires, but rarely confronted slavery directly. It was a silence shared by many founders, convenient, deliberate, and powerful. By the war's end, independence was secured. The British were defeated. A republic was born. Yet the promise of the revolution remained incomplete, its most glaring contradiction left unresolved. With victory achieved, Washington stepped into a new role, and the choices he made in peace would reveal even deeper tensions between principle, power, and conscience. When the war ended, the world watched closely. Victorious generals often became kings. Empires were born from ambition. Yet one man shocked history by walking away from absolute power while quietly holding others in chains. Was this restraint proof of greatness, or did it mask a deeper moral compromise? In 1783, the war was over. America stood exhausted, fragile, and uncertain. George Washington did something almost unthinkable for his time. He resigned his military command and returned home. This single act elevated his reputation across the world. To many, it proved that the revolution had truly broken from tyranny. But peace brought new responsibilities. The young nation struggled under weak leadership and economic instability. When the Constitutional Convention met in 1787, Washington was called once again. His presence alone gave the proceedings legitimacy. Soon after, he became the first president of the United States. As president, Washington set powerful precedents. He rejected royal titles, limited his authority, and stepped down after 2 terms. These choices shaped the future of American democracy. He believed power must be restrained, not inherited or abused. On the surface, his actions aligned with revolutionary ideals. Yet, within his own household, another system of power remained untouched. Enslaved people at Mount Vernon continued their lives under strict control. Washington managed them carefully, tracking productivity, enforcing discipline, and preventing escape. While he privately expressed discomfort with slavery, he never publicly challenged the institution during his presidency. Political reality played a role. Slavery was deeply embedded in the economy, especially in the southern states. Open opposition could fracture the fragile Union. Washington chose stability over confrontation, believing the nation's survival came first. In doing so, he postponed a reckoning that would later erupt with devastating consequences. His legacy became a study in contrasts. He limited power for himself, but preserved it over others. He helped build a republic founded on liberty, while tolerating a system that denied liberty entirely. But in the final years of his life, Washington faced a choice he could no longer delay, and the decision he made would quietly redefine how history remembers him.
As his life drew to a close, the applause faded and history grew quiet. No crowds, no speeches, just a man alone with his conscience. In his final decision, George Washington revealed something unexpected, not a revolution on the battlefield, but a reckoning within himself. Could one act at the end reshape a lifetime of contradiction? By the late 1790s, George Washington was no longer a public figure, commanding armies or shaping governments. He had returned to Mount Vernon, older, reflective, and aware that his time was limited. The nation he helped create was fragile but alive. The question that remained was deeply personal. What would he do about slavery? Privately, Washington's views had changed. Years of leadership had forced him to confront the moral weight of contradiction. Letters from this period revealed growing discomfort with human bondage. He began to see slavery not only as a political problem, but as a moral one, incompatible with the ideals he had helped defend. Yet during his lifetime, Washington did not free the enslaved people he controlled. Legal complexities, economic concerns, and family obligations delayed action. Silence continued, not because the issue had disappeared, but because confronting it openly still felt impossible. It was only in his will, written shortly before his death in 1799, that Washington made his most decisive statement. He ordered that the enslaved people he personally owned be freed after his wife's death. It was the only such act by a major founding father, quiet, limited, but undeniable. This decision did not end slavery. It did not erase suffering, but it mattered. It signaled an acknowledgement that the system was wrong, even if the courage to challenge it publicly came too late. History would remember Washington not as a simple hero or a simple villain, but a man shaped by his time, struggling against it, and never fully escaping it. His legacy remains unresolved, powerful, inspiring, and deeply flawed. And perhaps that is the most honest reflection of the nation he helped create. The story of George Washington does not ask us to choose between praise or condemnation. It asks us to confront the uncomfortable truth that freedom's greatest champions can also be its greatest contradictions. What did you think of this video about American history? If you enjoyed it, we regularly upload many informative and knowledge-based videos on this channel, so please consider subscribing to stay connected with us. Thank you for watching the video until the end.